Hello and welcome to Inside Indiana Business. I'm Gary Dick. In our top story this week, we are following two stories impacting the Hoosier economy. Fiat Chrysler Automobiles in Kokomo is now releasing details of its previously announced $400 million plan to retool one of its transmission plants to produce a new engine. It is the latest in a series of major auto industry expansions in Indiana. There is also growing concern on the impact the coronavirus could have on the state's economy, in particular the manufacturing sector. But we begin in Kokomo with the developing story at Fiat Chrysler Automobiles, which was first mentioned in Governor Holcomb's State of the State address in January. Our Mary Rachel Redmond is in Kokomo with more on the investment that marks the first time FCA has built an engine in Indiana. Mary Rachel.
Thanks, Gary. Well, I'm standing inside the newly named Kokomo engine plant, where construction is already underway on the $400 million transformation process of the former transmission plant. I talked to FCA North America Vice President Brad Clark and asked him why make such a significant investment in Kokomo. And he tells me it all boiled down to workforce.
In 2010, the company made a decision to maintain transmission production here, and the workforce is just delivered for the company. And so when we looked at our global GME engine, it just made sense that this facility was available and the workforce was available to invest here. We're going to probably maintain around 1,000 jobs and have the potential to add about 200 jobs. But most importantly, it diversifies us from just being a transmission city to allow us to get into the engines. I already know that we have a world-class workforce in this area, so I have no doubt that this team's going to deliver.
And no one is more excited about FCA's investment in Kokomo than Mayor Tyler Moore and the significant impact it will have on the community.
The investment by Chrysler is very important to the city because it gives more assurance that the work is going to stay here, that the continued commitment to the community from Chrysler is assured, and it just gives everyone, especially the workforce themselves, as well as businesses throughout the community, that peace of mind knowing that the economy is going to continue to thrive with Chrysler here.
And officials tell me the Kokomo engine plant will likely begin production in Q2 of 2021. In Kokomo, Mary Rachel Redmond, Inside Indiana Business.
All right, Mary Rachel, thank you. Let's turn now to Ball State Center for Economic Research Director Mike Hicks with what this huge investment means, not only for Kokomo, but for Indiana. Mike, it's always great to have you on the show.
Thanks. Good to be with you.
Off camera, you told me this investment, significant obviously, but really the kind of the roots of this date back maybe 10 years or so.
Right. I think you have to go back to the policy reforms under Mitch Daniels, combined with all the good work that Mayor Goodnight did to make that city a place that people want to live. And so you heard on this segment, it's about workforce. That's where you locate factories today. This could have gone anywhere in the world. It went to Kokomo for, I think, really those two reasons.
Yeah, and I think that's a point to underscore. This could have gone anywhere. These engines, I think, now are being manufactured in Italy, and the U.S. production is going to be here. Could have gone anywhere, so there was obviously some things going right in Kokomo for this to happen.
Right, and if you visit Kokomo and you haven't been there in 10 or 15 years, you'll be just wowed by how attractive it is. It's a growing Indianapolis suburb with a lot of rural places around it to live. It's the place that a factory like this would want to go. Mm-hmm. It's got a great workforce, fantastic future in this, and I think it shows that the work you do 10 or 15 years ago are going to start bearing fruit.
Yeah, great story happening in Kokomo. Let's switch gears a bit, but to the coronavirus, getting a lot of attention, obviously, nationally, globally. The potential impact, as you see it, in particular on the Indiana economy, manufacturing economy, goods coming into this country from China. Where do you see things?
Well, right now we import about $7 billion worth of goods a year. About half of that is automotive parts and components, and they come to us directly from China and then from other assembly plants around the country. Those have been idle in China from 6 to 8 weeks now, and most factories are going to have 90, maybe 120 days of stockpile. And so the supply chain has been broken when it actually hits. And factories right now are anywhere from 10 to 60% production, depending what province you are in China. That's going to cause a production interruption in Indiana. It's going to last however long the Chinese factories are down to deal with the spread of the coronavirus disease.
So that's one impact. How about on the demand side, the
Right.
consumer, which has been so strong during the run-up of the economy?
Right, so we've had a weak manufacturing year, so that's a supply side effect. Nobody can really do anything about that. We're just going to have to live through that. The demand side, which really is a couple of things. Stock markets are down $6 trillion, which is a big impact on people's interest in spending. The Federal Reserve normally could lower interest rates. We could have a stimulus, restore some confidence. But in this case, the confidence is really about catching the disease. So I don't think there's anything federal government can do to restore confidence in our interest in going on a cruise or taking a flight or going to Disney World. So I think we're in for a really rough patch for the next few months. Hope it doesn't last much longer than that, but the supply side effect and the demand side effect really put downward pressure, sort of recessionary level pressures on the domestic economy. Indiana is really exposed on the supply side with factories, not as bad on the demand side.
Great perspective from Mike Hicks, Ball State University. Mike, as always, thanks for being here.
Good to be with you.